Hello and welcome to the Passenger Seat Podcast pod vlog, and today we're doing something a little bit different to start out what's going to be a pretty interesting journey. This is a video of me on the day after I got Peggy way back in 2020, having one of my first drives with my sister in the passenger seat recording. Seeing this video of me looking so nervous is so weird to me now because we've done 35,000 miles together, and unfortunately for Peggy that is starting to show, and so we've now reached the stage where we are about to embark on that big restoration journey. Hopefully not going to take too long, but we are going to see some changes to her over the next couple of months, and we're going to document it all here, so I hope you're going to enjoy being here for the journey. So like I said, I got Peggy in 2020. For those who don't know, she's my first car and she's been my daily driver for those 4 years, and it's been a fantastic ride. Here's a picture of me the day that I got the keys to her, and also a picture of her when I first got her. And you can see that she looks quite a bit different to what I'm about to show in my walk round of the starting point. The exterior of Peggy probably isn't on the podcast all that much, but here she is. So from a distance she probably looks kind of okay, especially on this side, but there are a few telltale signs here. So this wing here and where it's going kind of down the side there. Doors seem to be reasonably okay, but again we've got lots of little bits happening on the wings there. A bit of stuff along the top of the boot lid, quite unusual for it to have gone there and not at the bottom, but we're probably going to have to find a new boot lid. And then over this side is the really bad wing. So this one is the wing that's kind of all held on with some gaffer tape and stuff like that, and then down the bottom here some wood screws and bits and bobs. And then this wing here is really bad as well. You can see kind of all the bubbling and things. So those are the main areas. The front and stuff isn't too bad. These wings are obviously kind of going, but that's all part of the wing that will be replaced anyway. And you've got kind of not so bad on this side, but all going to be kind of taken down to bare metal anyway. And yes, that's what will be happening. We're going to get the wheels all powder coated and then painted back up properly, rather than kind of my attempt in a garage during COVID. And then some stuff underneath as well, which obviously I can't really show you on the driveway, but that's the kind of starting point for her. And then we are going to be doing a little bit of stuff inside as well. So you can see that the seats are pretty tired and dirty, and the carpet is her original carpet, and it's quite worn away in places and tired, but also it's not really the colour I want. I know that this is the original colour that would have been with a Trafalgar blue, but given that Peggy is my forever car, I think I'm going to go for red carpets. They'll show up dirt a little bit less and obviously match the steering wheel and everything else that I've done with her. Still kind of deciding what I want to do about the interior seats. These seats probably do need something doing with them. That one's not as bad as I remember, but this one is pretty tired, and I guess I kind of want it to all tie in together if I do start making changes. So we'll have to see kind of what happens there. But kind of inside, she's not too bad, but there will be just kind of a bit of tidying up and things that go on. And these are the wings that I got from Morris Minor HQ Derby. I think one's a heritage and one's possibly new old stock, I'm not sure, but they were considerably cheaper to get from them than anywhere else. And we'll be getting a new headlining as well, given that all the windows and stuff will end up coming out to replace what happened there. So that's hopefully what the plan is. So on Monday 8th of April I dropped Peggy off, and if you recognise where she's been dropped off, I'd be really grateful if you didn't say in the comments or whatever, just to kind of keep her safe as possible. And I'm really fortunate to have got in where I have. I booked in 2022 for the work that I'm having done, because the demand is pretty high and he doesn't take on lots of work, but that's me filling out the form. And then we're going for a little walk around the car. Ian here last saw Peggy around the time that we went to the Netherlands. He did the work before her MOT for that, and so he's done some work on her before, but since then a few bits and pieces had got a little bit worse, and some stuff hadn't got as bad as I think we thought it was going to get. So we're just walking around here, checking things over, kind of trying to get an assessment as to how much is going to need to be done. And what I'm really fortunate with Ian is that he's been doing it for years and years and years, and he's able to kind of point out lots of things that I hadn't noticed. So he's able to tell me here that the door bottoms on the driver's side have been replaced at some point, and he's able to spot those little bits and pieces. And he does the same with the boot as well when we're looking at that. And it's just going around and kind of noticing these things, trying to work out kind of how much work is going to need to be done on each of these little bits of the car, so that he's able to give me kind of an estimate at the end of this walk round as to what needs doing. So we've pretty much agreed that the door bottoms and the bottom of this back panel here is going to need to be cut out and replaced. Obviously we all know that the wings are coming off and being replaced, and we're looking at the boot here, and like I said in the walk round, it's quite unusual that it's gone at the top, and we work out here that the reason it's not gone at the bottom is because the bottom has been replaced at some point. But this means that the boot is reasonably solid in other places, so we are just going to, I think, try and replace the top half of the boots there, just on the outside, with kind of a bit of metal rather than bubbly little bits of rust. And again, he points out stuff in the boot in terms of kind of rear arches having had some work done on before, and interestingly the bit that they haven't had work on done before is actually where it's ended up going, so that's the kind of front half of the wings rather than the rear half. But again, just so fortunate to have him and his experience able to add to my understanding of the car as well as working on it. Over here on the passenger side, Ian is quite surprised at kind of how bad it's got, but it doesn't make a huge amount of difference. We knew this wing was coming off, we knew it was being replaced, and when we later get to kind of looking underneath the car and things, he is quite happy to say that as it stands it would still pass an MOT, but it is just at getting to that point where we need to stop it getting any worse. Again, checking the bottom of this side door, and it's tricky to see on this side because there's quite a bit of filler, and so once he's kind of taken all that off we'll be able to get a better assessment. But for the process of giving me an estimation, he assumes that that's going to have to be replaced, and then if I don't, then that's a bonus. And then this front wing here with its kind of bodgery as well is added to the list of things that needs doing. And it's about this point that Ian starts looking underneath and remembers that he's got a ramp, so we move to having a look at her underneath the ramp in the workshop. So here's Peggy coming in onto the ramp, and once we get her up there, she's actually surprisingly pretty decent underneath, and there's not too much work that we think has to be done. If stuff needs to be done, we're getting it done, but reasonably happy with it all. And we've spent about an hour and a half, 2 hours here. It's really easy to spend a lot of time here. You might think that you're only popping over across for kind of half an hour or so, but you start talking and exchanging kind of information and learning so much, that it soon racks up. But also this was a really important first visit, obviously dropping her off, but also checking stuff over, getting an idea of overall potential cost and what we're kind of getting ourselves in for. But as she goes up, we get kind of a good look underneath at what's going on under there, and again, like I said, no huge holes or unexpected surprises, which is always nice when a car goes up on a ramp. And actually, when we check on her again for the first visit, we're actually able to see that she's able to sit quite happily on those bars as well, and sit up in the air on those. But that's my kind of walk round of Peggy before everything starts, and the dropping her off at the place where the work is being done. It's been a really great experience so far, and I'm going to take you along for the whole journey, and once everything's finalised and agreed, I'll share kind of prices and costs with you guys, as well as hours that went into getting her to look as good as she does at the end, so that you guys get a better idea of kind of what this sort of process can look like. But thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and drive safely and happy motoring.